Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Angela Braga, Associate Professor in the Department of Community and Behavioral Health and President of the Faculty Senate for the Colorado School of Public Health. On behalf of our school's faculty and staff, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all, graduates, alumni, family, and friends, to the virtual 2020 Colorado School of Public Health Convocation. Today is a very special day in a very special year for our graduates, and we thank you for joining us in recognizing their accomplishments. And now I ask that you join me in welcoming Professor and Dean, Dr. Jonathan Samet.
I'm delighted to welcome each of you, our graduates, families, and friends, and our faculty, staff, and distinguished guests to the 2020 Colorado School of Public Health Convocation. This is our first and hopefully our last virtual convocation. None of us could have foreseen at last year's convocation how the world would be changed. This year's class will share the unique experience of graduating during the pandemic of our lifetimes. We all regret that this is the case, but such is reality. For the class of 2020, you will not need to explain to anyone what public health is or why it is so important. You have made a career choice for our time and for the future. I congratulate you, and I thank you for your flexibility as we unexpectedly move to remote education. In our new normal, be ready for changes and shifts as we deal with what is to come. For now, public health has been quickly transformed as we focus on the necessity of controlling the COVID-19 epidemic. And there are challenges to follow as scarcer resources are matched against greater need. But as always, graduations are meaningful in so many ways and still mark an important, most important transition. So today, we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates and share with you our warmest congratulations as you step into your professional lives as public health practitioners, researchers, policymakers, and more. Graduates, you brought with you into our classrooms great hope and enthusiasm and a strong commitment to acquiring the skills and knowledge needed for a profession dedicated to creating a healthier world. You have been up to the challenge. A healthier world is, of course, what we aim to achieve both individually and together in our training, in our research, in our everyday practice. And the challenges will keep coming, a comment that is too well supported by our current reality. Could we have imagined the COVID-19 pandemic or deaths from inhaling nicotine from an electronic device, a problem that was front and center a few months ago? As graduates of the Colorado School of Public Health, you will be key in continually advancing health for decades to come. As you leave our classrooms that were in person and then remote this spring, you join a community of like-minded professionals and leaders who are ready and willing to partner with you. And today, I ask that you thank everyone who supported you over your years at the school, your family, friends, colleagues, instructors, and more. Before we move into our formal convocation ceremony, I'd like to take a moment to honor our many distinguished faculty, staff, and students who received university and school awards this year. The awardees are honored by the presidents, chancellors, and provosts of the University of Colorado, Colorado State University, and the University of Northern Colorado, as well as by the Colorado School of Public Health. This year, one of the school's dearest friends and advisors, and the immediate past chair of the Colorado School of Public Health Advisory Board, was named recipient of the University of Colorado's 2020 University Medal, a very high honor. Donna Boucher, the recipient, has had a lifetime of dedicated service to the state, the University of Colorado, and the Colorado School of Public Health. She has had a significant impact, to put it lightly. Donna's extensive contributions include serving on the Colorado School of Public Health Advisory Board from 2011 to now, and as board chair from 2013 through 2017. She has also been a part of the Advisory Council to the National Institutes of Health Council of Councils, the Colorado Coalition for the Medically Underserved, a chair resource committee member for the Colorado State Mental Health Planning and Resource Council, and served on the board of directors for the University of Colorado Foundation. She played a critical role as a member of the School of Public Health Initiative in the CU, CSU, and UNC Collaborative Startup Committee and rallied key decision makers for the creation of the Colorado School of Public Health in 2008. Congratulations and thank you so much, Donna. This year, a number of Colorado School of Public Health faculty received notable university awards and recognition. Dr. Lee Newman, professor of environmental and occupational health and director of the Center for Work, Health, and Environment, was named a University of Colorado Distinguished Professor, the university's highest honor for faculty. Dr. Molly Lamb, assistant professor of epidemiology, received the 2020 University of Colorado President's Excellence in Teaching Award. Dr. Wei Pern, assistant professor of epidemiology, and Dr. Katerina Kekris, professor of biostatistics and informatics, received the 2020 University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus Chancellor's Teaching Recognition Award. Dr. Heather Leach, assistant professor of physical activities and healthy lifestyles, received the 2020 Colorado State University Provost Award for Faculty Excellence, the Lincoln Laureate. Dr. Chrissy Shard, assistant professor of physical activity and healthy lifestyles, received the Faculty Institute for Inclusive Excellence Diversity Impact Award from Colorado State University. And Dr. Dawn Philmani, professor of animals, people, and the environment, was recognized with Colorado State University's Emerging Community Engagement Scholarship Award as part of the faculty team involved with the Colorado Blueprint for Food and Agriculture. For our annual School of Public Health Awards, I'd like to congratulate the following faculty and staff of our school. Dr. Virginia Visconti, Assistant Clinical Professor in Community and Behavioral Health at CU Anschutz, received the 2020 Faculty Excellence in Teaching Award. Dr. Jessica Elf, Assistant Professor of Epidemiology at CSU, received the 2020 Faculty Excellence in Student Mentored Research Award. Dr. Laura Saba, Assistant Professor of Biostatistics and Informatics at CU Anschutz, received the 2020 Faculty Excellence in Mentoring and Advising Award. Dr. Betsy Reisendahl, Associate Professor of Community and Behavioral Health at CU Anschutz, received the 2020 Excellence in Faculty Research Award. Dr. Patricia Valverde, Instructor in Community and Behavioral Health at CU Anschutz, received the 2020 Faculty Excellence in Public Health Practice Award. And Bernadette Bernie Gutierrez, Department Administrator for the Department of Community and Behavioral Health, received the 2020 Outstanding Contribution by a Staff Member Award. For our school's Students Awards this year, I congratulate Abby Collins, who graduated last fall from our program in Community Health Education at the University of Northern Colorado, and received the 2020 Student Excellence in Public Health Practice Award. And our annual award for outstanding contribution by a student at our 3 universities goes to Leah Bruner, MPH student in Community Health Excellence at UNC, Ashley Clark, MPH candidate in Physical Activity and Healthy Lifestyles at CSU, and Brianna Teeters, MPH candidate in Health Systems Management and Policy at CU Anschutz. In addition to the many annual university and school awards, I'd also like to recognize all our students, faculty, and staff who received other notable national and local recognition this year. You will find a list of all awards and recipients on pages 8 and 9 in your electronic program that was emailed to all attendees and is available on the Convocation page on our website. Thank you to this year's winners for your dedication and contributions as teachers, mentors, students, and leaders. Please join me in a round of virtual applause for our school and university awardees. Virtual applause. Okay, continuing, I turn finally to the Dean's Special Recognition Award. This year's recipient of the 2020 Dean's Special Recognition Award is Dr. Judith Albino. Judith is University of Colorado President Emerita, past interim dean and associate dean of advancement for the Colorado School of Public Health, and professor of community and behavioral health in our school. She also holds an appointment in craniofacial biology with the School of Dental Medicine. As the first female president of CU from 1991 to 95, Judith has long been a leader. Our school has been fortunate to have her take on leadership roles and to be a model for our ever-increasing numbers of female faculty. In addition to serving as CU president, she's been a vice president, a dean 4 times, and she's also led research teams and developed leadership programs. As the director of the University of Colorado's Leadership for Innovative Team Science, best known as the LIGHTS program, Judith has helped to create and sustain a strong network of colleagues who will train the next generation of clinical and translational scientists. She also directed the graduate school's career development and leadership training program for students and postdocs, and regularly travels the country, consulting or coaching on leadership and organization development issues. Here in the Colorado School of Public Health, Judith directed the NIH-funded Center for Native Oral Health in the Centers for American Indian and Alaska Native Health for 9 years, from 2008 through 18. The Oral Health Center's work focuses on Native American reservations, where kids' oral health is a major challenge, especially when it comes to culturally acceptable strategies for prevention and education. Judith is currently serving as scientific editor and co-project director for the 2020 Surgeon General's report on oral health in America. As a native of Jackson, Tennessee, and the daughter of preachers and teachers on her mother's side, and fathers and merchants on her dad's side, Judith has focused on health disparities. And it is this passion and awareness that led her to create the Judith Albino Diversity Scholarship Endowment Fund in 1992, with the goal of recruiting a diverse student population. In the last 5 years alone, this scholarship supported 17 public health students with almost $100,000 in funding. Judith, for all that you have done for the University of Colorado, the Anschutz campus, and the Colorado School of Public Health, I thank you, and we all thank you. Please join me in a round of virtual applause for Dr. Judith Albino. More virtual applause, please. Now I turn to our retiring faculty. As we prepare to say goodbye and good luck to students who are embarking on the next phase of their careers, we also pause to recognize others within our school who are celebrating a different kind of commencement of their own, retirement. They dedicated their careers to public health research and service, and the teaching and modeling the public health mindset for all our students as they prepare to be tomorrow's leaders. Our retiring faculty and staff this year are Dr. Gary Old, Professor of Public Health Nutrition for the Colorado School of Public Health, and Food Science and Human Nutrition at Colorado State University. Dr. Judd Blatchford, Research Associate in Biostatistics and Informatics for the Colorado School of Public Health at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus. Dr. David Dargatz, Professor of Animals, People, and the Environment for the Colorado School of Public Health and Veterinary Medicine Clinical Sciences at Colorado State University. Dr. Diane Fairclough, Professor of Biostatistics and Informatics for the Colorado School of Public Health at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus. Dr. Jeffrey McCubbin, Professor of Physical Activity and Healthy Lifestyles for the Colorado School of Public Health and Dean Emeritus for the College of Health and Human Sciences at Colorado State University. Gloria Richardson, Professional Research Associate and Program Manager for the Culture of Wellness in Preschools program in our Rocky Mountain Prevention Research Center. And Suzelle Klein, Center Manager for the school's Latino Research and Policy Center. Please join me again in a round of virtual applause for our retiring faculty and staff. I now introduce Associate Professor of Epidemiology and Environmental and Occupational Health, Dr. Elaine Scallon-Walter, to recognize the 2020 Delta Omega inductees. Dr. Scallon-Walter.
Thank you, Dr. Samet. As president of the Alpha Upsilon chapter of Delta Omega, the National Public Health Honor Society, it is my honor to recognize our 2020 inductees. Induction into Delta Omega constitutes a tribute of the highest distinction. Election to membership recognizes merit, but also encourages further excellence in and devotion to public health work. You will find a listing of this year's Delta Omega inductees on page 14 of your program, and our screen will also show the names of our newest members. Each year, our chapter elects new members from 3 groups. The first group includes students who are candidates for a graduate degree in public health. For those students who are participating in our virtual ceremony today, you will see a special notation on the slide for each student who has been inducted into the Honor Society. The second group includes our students' alumni who are actively engaged in public health work. And the third group includes Colorado School of Public Health faculty members. Congratulations to this year's inductees. Finally, we present our inductee in the honorary member category. This category is reserved for professionals who possess exceptional qualifications and who have attained admirable distinction in the field of public health. This year's honorary member elected to Delta Omega is former State Senator Jeannie Nicholson, a public health nurse by trade who earned her BSN in 1965 and MS in Community Health Nursing in 1990 from the University of Colorado College of Nursing. Senator Nicholson led a single nurse public health agency, Gilpin County, from 1979 to 1998, and then worked as a consultant and clinical instructor. She ran for State House in 2000 and for State Senate in 2010, and held office from 2011 until 2015. As a senator, she sponsored and passed 18 bills during her tenure as a Democratic member of the Colorado State Senate, proudly representing Colorado's 16th district, which includes Gilpin County and rural mountain towns like Georgetown. Senator Nicholson has always been known as an advocate and supporter of public health and equitable access to health for all Coloradans. Her support of public health bills during her time in the Senate and beyond has been essential to bringing health into reach for all Coloradans. Thank you and congratulations, Senator Nicholson. It is now my honor to introduce the 2020 graduating class Convocation speaker and president of the Colorado School of Public Health's Tri-Institutional Student Council, Brianna Teeters.
Hi, Colorado School of Public Health, class of 2020. I'm Brianna Teeters, and I'm here to share a few words. I don't want to repeat what we all already know. This year, this semester, and this day are not what we ever would have expected. As Student Council President and someone who has always advocated for Colorado School of Public Health students, I'm here today to help celebrate all of your hard work and dedication to public health. The many hours spent writing papers, studying for tests, collaborating on group projects, and listening to lectures have prepared us all as we navigate the next steps in our career path. Whether we're working with community members to improve access to healthcare, analyzing trends and data, advocating for policy change, or examining environmental influences, we're all working together to improve health for all. While I've had a lot of time at home and in between making lists of shows I want to binge watch after graduation, I rewatched my favorite movie from the Harry Potter series, The Prisoner of Azkaban. The quote that continues to stand out is, "Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if only one remembers to turn on the light." Today, as you sit there and reflect on your achievements and think about your future, you may be wondering what's next. We're all about to embark on our own journey that's completely unknown. For some people, that's exciting. For some, it's nerve-inducing. And for some, like me, we're just taking it day by day. Through all of this, I want to remind everyone to turn on the light and help turn on the light for others. We're all now Colorado School of Public Health graduates. Congratulations. I wish you the best on your journey.
Now I want to turn to our convocation speakers in our first virtual convocation. I couldn't think of two people more ideally suited to be speaking to you today. They are Jill Ryan, who is Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, better known as CDPHE, and Rachel Herlihy, Chief of the Communicable Disease Branch, and also a state epidemiologist. Jill received her MPH from the University of Northern Colorado at the time when that program was the first and I believe the only MPH program in the state. Rachel trained in medicine at the University of Wisconsin and in preventive medicine at Johns Hopkins, where she also received her MPH. So thank you for being here to speak to our graduates today. I'm going to turn to you both to just talk a little bit about your career paths. And Jill, why don't we start with you? Say a little bit about going from an MPH at UNC to the important position you hold.
Thanks, John. I'm glad to be here today, and congratulations, everyone. Yes, so in 1995, I got what I would describe as my dream job in public health, and that was working in the family planning clinic at the Jefferson County Department of Public Health, and really trying to promote those services to people who are underserved, including adolescents. And I came from a background in counseling, and I absolutely loved this job, and I fell in love with public health, and I immediately enrolled in UNC, as you pointed out. It was the only MPH program at the time. The thing that was so attractive to me was I could go to school at night and keep my day job that I was so in love with. Not too long after having that job at Jefferson County, a couple of years, wouldn't you know it, the state invited me to come participate in a very controversial program. It was an abstinence-only program. The federal government was offering this chance for states to draw down a bunch of money, but to fund abstinence only, which we all know in public health, the literature doesn't support as a viable way to prevent teen pregnancies. So that's where I really got a taste of the policy realm and working with diverse constituents and trying to come up with a way to really educate people about public health practice and how to know what's effective while still respecting the values of many different groups. And that was my foray into CDPHE, where I spent 10 years. I founded the Office of Health Equity while I was there. I really gravitated toward health planning and health policy. I left, moved to Eagle County, became the local public health director in 2004. I did that for 5 years, started a family and my own consulting practice. But of course, being in the Office of Health Disparities, now called Office of Health Equity, worked a lot on social determinants of health and became enamored with running for public office. So I could really work on the determinants of health, whether it's affordable housing or access to goods and services and transportation and inequities in income and education. So I ended up running for county commissioner in 2012 in Eagle County and did that for 6 years. And it was really a great way to feed my love of policy and working with disparate populations. And then Governor Polis asked me to come serve as the director of Department of Public Health and Environment, and coming back to really my roots. in January of 2019. So I've held that office. I was in it for about 13 months when SARS-CoV-2 became a thing in Colorado. And so that's been my path to sitting before you today.
Great, thanks. And Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit how you ended up in the hot seat you're in?
Sure. Congrats, graduates. I'm so excited for you. You're certainly entering the workforce at a really exciting and interesting time. So my journey in public health has really been primarily focused in epidemiology. And it was actually during high school that I really fell in love with the idea of public health and being a disease detective. I had read the book And the Band Played On, which was really an inspiration to me and really inspired me to follow a career in public health. And so had a bit of a winding path to get there, like many of us do in public health, but chose to pursue a dual career in medicine and public health. And so first pursued an undergraduate degree in microbiology to get some basic science behind me, and then went on to medical school, but knew the entire time I was in medical school that I really wanted to end up in a public health space. I certainly enjoyed clinical medicine, but it wasn't really what inspired me like public health did. And so because of that, pursued a preventive medicine residency and the opportunity to really learn much more about epidemiology. And through that residency, and that was while I was at Hopkins, also received my MPH. And really, I feel like that MPH training has really been the core of epidemiology for me, and really where I gained the skills and the tools that I needed to be a medical epidemiologist and practice eventually as a state epidemiologist. It was during that time in residency, I was actually talking to the Maryland Department of Health about a potential internship with them, that I said during an interview, whether this was a good idea or not, that I actually wanted to be a state epidemiologist. And I eventually ended up here, and it's been an exciting path to get here. I, right after residency, spent some time working for the Department of Defense and worked on infectious diseases clinical research and gained some great research skills during that time. And then went on to be the deputy state epidemiologist for the Utah Department of Health for a couple of years. And then came here to Colorado and had the opportunity to first start working in immunizations and really gain some understanding of the policy aspects of public health work that we do before moving into an administrative role, and then now eventually into the state epidemiologist position where I've been for the last 3 years. And really my passion is communicable disease epidemiology, but as I'll talk more about, I'm sure it's the same set of tools and skills that we use across disciplines within public health.
Great, well, thank you. You certainly both had varied and rich careers to now, and much more to come. So, looking at our graduates now and thinking about starting in 2020, what do you see lying ahead for them, the challenges they may face and the skills they might need? So I don't know, Jill, do you want to weigh in first and then Rachel come after?
Sure, John. Yes, so I think it's always exciting to be in public health, but of course, with this novel coronavirus, even a more exciting time today. So, public health is so interesting. The general public, policymakers don't really understand what we do. I think as a field, sometimes we struggle to market ourselves, and the truth is the public simply can't live without us. They will never realize everything that we have prevented, of course. So, I think as a result, public health has been underfunded. The field's been underfunded for decades. And now with SARS-CoV-2, there's just going to be an influx of funding for public health. And, I know it's my vision. I know it's even Dr. Redfield's vision at the CDC. How do we take advantage of the funding that we're getting to really build our workforce, to get people into these agencies and, under the guise of SARS-CoV-2, but then moving into permanent public health jobs so we have a more robust public health workforce. I think the challenge for graduates may be that public health expertise is going to be in high demand. At the same time, these public health agencies are going to be so focused on the response that they're going to be a little bit overwhelmed in trying to get people into the workforce. So I would say my advice would be, you don't have to wait for that perfect public health job. Get your foot in the door at a public health agency, even if it's something like a job for a contact tracer or something. I think once you're in the agency, your skills will become apparent. You can climb the ladder or, go into a different role at some point if it's not in the response. On the other hand, I think there will still be, of course, public health jobs in general available, but I think that's a way to fast track it, is looking for a way into these agencies through the response.
And Rachel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would certainly echo that. I think, for those folks that are similar to me, whose passion is communicable disease epidemiology, it's sort of an ideal time, right, to be joining the workforce. That's really what our response to COVID-19 is. But I think also keep in mind that what you learn during your education in public health is really a tool set that can be applied to lots of different disciplines. And as Jill said, I think this is really the ideal time to get into the workforce, use those tools that you've developed over the last couple of years. And perhaps there's going to be more opportunities available specifically in COVID-19 response work, but it's the same tools, it's the same skills, and develop those skills now early on in your career, and you'll have lots of opportunities before you. If, perhaps COVID-19 isn't your passion today, it's the same skill set that you need that you can apply to a future passion, whether that's obesity or tobacco prevention or other work that might be out there waiting for you.
So Rachel, I'm going to challenge you now, put on your futurist hat. A graduate in 2020 might easily be working in 2050 or even 2060. What do you think is going to happen to public health? It's not going away, but post COVID-19 and looking to the future, what do you see in your crystal ball?
Yeah, so I do think that, we are going to be in this period of renewed interest in public health preparedness. And we've seen this previously, right, in response to 9/11 and anthrax attacks, and then the 2009 H1N1 pandemic. I think this is the next phase of public health preparedness and response work. And so I think that there's going to be renewed interest in ensuring that our public health agencies are prepared. And I think that step will follow really immediately after this initial response phase. And so I think there's absolutely going to be an investment in public health preparedness that follows this critical initial response period. And hopefully that carries forward into the future and our future investment in our public health infrastructure as we go forward, because I think we all know that long-term investment in all aspects of public health and ensuring we have a broad workforce that can work on a variety of disciplines is going to be critically important going forward.
Thanks for looking ahead. Jill, just turning back to you and your interest in social determinants and you've been engaged in communities. How do you think we're going to do in the future with addressing these root causes that you've been concerned about?
Yeah, John, thanks for the question. Back in 2001, the Office of then Health Disparities wrote the first report on what this looked like for communities, and really looking at each health outcome, for example, by race, ethnicity, and then talking about all the root causes of institutionalized racism or systematic discrimination, and the things that result in disparities in income and education, which lead to the outcomes that you see. I think what COVID-19 has done is absolutely exploit all the weaknesses in our systems and made those disparities simply magnified. And so, for example, African Americans and Latinos have had higher rates of death from COVID-19. If you go all the way back, to the root causes of that, potentially it could be linked to there are more people that are in professions that have been defined broadly across the nation as a critical workforce. You know, those are people that are going to work each day, whether they're working in a grocery store, whether they're working in Walmart, whether they're driving a bus. They're disproportionately in jobs that you're not able to do from home. And so they have more exposure, you know, and then it, of course, exploits the inequities in access to healthcare. It exploits the inequities in, you know, the disease process that we see that is just, it's magnified from all of the inequities in society. And then groups tend to have higher rates of for example, diabetes or high blood pressure, or issues that make COVID-19 harder to respond from. So, you know, I think public health has had a lens on this, and the hard thing is us having a loud enough voice and figuring out what those policy levers are that we can pull that create a more just and equitable society. After coming out of the Office of Health Disparities, I used to say public health people should run for public office, which is what I've done several times, just because I think, you know, we have a different view of the world. That's one small policy lever, but we need some change, right, on just such a large scale to get at these. But I think, you know, we're the right place to start. We understand the data and the root causes, and ultimately, you know, it's the ultimate way to go upstream in prevention to have the best outcomes and prevent, you know, having to spend funding down the road on intervention.
Great. Well, thank you. I mean, it's a huge set of challenges. So I think in closing, let me turn to both of you, perhaps Rachel first with your last thoughts for new graduates who are certainly going to be starting their careers at an extraordinary moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are certainly graduating with the most relevant degree in the country right now, truthfully. And congrats on your impeccable timing and your choice for careers, because you are so incredibly needed right now. You've spent the last couple of years amassing your public health tool set, and you're equipped and ready really to go out and be public health problem solvers at a time when across our globe we are really faced with a public health problem of enormous scale. And this really weird spring will end up defining a decade and perhaps even a century. And you'll really be in this new workforce that jumps in and is ready to solve this crisis for our country and the globe. So congratulations to all of you and best wishes going forward. We certainly need you, and we're excited to have you joining the workforce.
Great. Thank you. And Jill, let me turn to you.
Yes, I'll echo Dr. Herlihy in that we need you and we are ready for you, and we can't wait to have you come work for us and join in this fight. If I was going to offer advice, it would be this: to never stop learning, to continue to hone your public health practice, and it is a practice. Keep up on the literature, be curious about the data, and always seek to understand the root causes and the big picture and best practices, and then go advocate for that, because the public is really depending on you.
Great. Well, thanks so much to both of you. Great words of guidance for our graduates. I'm now pleased to welcome Dr. Carolyn DiGiuseppe, Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs and Professor in the Colorado School of Public Health.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Carolyn DiGiuseppe, Professor of Epidemiology and Associate Dean for Faculty. And it is now my honor to recognize the 2020 graduating class members who are participating in our ceremony today. I will begin by reading the names of the candidates for the degree of Master of Public Health. D. Akers. Ibukun Julia Akinbayewa, MD. Allison Baker. Mary McHugh Boyd. Connor Celentano. Swarnima Chaudhry. Erin Retty Coleman. Obina Richard Diala. Liza Elkin. Marcella A. Fasano, MA. Camera Fisher. Charlotte Flanders. Ariella C. Foss. Jake Fox. Anne Marie Giesenhagen. Erin May Gerard. Heather Leanne Judici. Nolan Douglas Green. Veronica B. Hanna. Carolyn On Ho. Kirk Richard Hosfield. Thora Holm. Amanda Ireton. Megan Kalata. Sarah Kitchen. Kylie Penland Klein. Catherine Cradle. Rachel Ann Lacey. Bruce J. Lancer, MD. Jeremy J. Lee. Jessica Stephanie Lopeman. Joel C. Mars. Elizabeth McAvoy, RDN. Kyla Munoz. Namdi A. Nwafo. Shannon O'Brien. Catherine Katie Paniga. Kathy Daun Pang. Hannah Jane Paris. Kimberly Tina Fu. Xenia Kalina Poole. Caitlin Nelson Probst. Sabrina Rahman. Abhishek Kumar Rauniar. Catherine Lisa Razavi Shear. Taryn Robertson. Brianna Kelly Robles. Rebecca Rodriguez Salazar. Shannon Mary Shaw. Vanessa Slack. Ashley Snyder. Rena Solar. Rhiannon Michelle Straight. Ariana Cobra Talai. Brianna Danielle Teeters. Kimberly Lawson Tolchinsky. Ryan Rotans Sippis. Tweevy Vo. Leslie Carolina Walker. John Windsor. Heidi Yen. Kelly Zavaleta. Congratulations to our Master of Public Health graduates. Now our candidate for the degree of Master of Science. Claire Miller. Congratulations to our Master of Science graduate. I will now read the names of our Doctor of Public Health and Doctor of Philosophy graduates who are participating in our ceremony today. Dr. Noor Rama Noor Hashim, Doctor of Public Health in Environmental and Occupational Health. Dr. Noor Hashim's dissertation is titled, Characterizing Cumulative Air Emissions, Air Quality Impacts, and Public Health Risks of Criteria, Pollutants, and Volatile Organic Compounds Emissions from Multiple Co-Located Petroleum Facilities. Speaking for Dr. Noor Hashim, almost 5 years ago, in August 2015, I moved halfway across the world to begin the Doctor of Public Health program with my husband and 4 children in tow. I defended last December and moved back to Malaysia in January this year. This feat is only possible with the support and encouragement by so many people, faculty, staff, and friends in the Colorado School of Public Health and in the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health. In particular, I would like to thank Dr. John Adgate, Dr. Lisa McKenzie, Dr. Jenna Milford, Dr. Miles Coburn, and Dr. Salman Hussein. I also thank my family for their enduring patience and their unconditional love through the years. Hashtag I did it, hashtag this is for you. Congratulations, Dr. Noor Hashim. Dr. Dana Fletcher, Doctor of Philosophy in Health Services Research. Dr. Fletcher's dissertation is titled, Associations Between Medicare Payment Reforms and Cardiac Rehabilitation in Traditional Medicare Beneficiaries, Use of Cardiac Rehabilitation Following Payment Incentives and Penalties, and its relationship with 30-day all-cause hospital readmissions ratios. Speaking for Dr. Fletcher, I'd like to thank my co-mentors, Dr. Pamela Peterson and Dr. Michael Ho, and my advisors, Dr. Gary Grunwald, Dr. Richard Lindruth, and Dr. Catherine Battaglia, for their indispensable guidance that fostered completion of this milestone. My family, who is always there for me through thick and thin. To my parents, William and Doris Fletcher, my sister, Jody Fletcher, and my life partner, Michael Connolly, I thank you. Many thanks to my fellow students and friends who, as we each journey toward personal and academic goals, continue to inspire joy. As my career transitions and as our world transforms before our eyes, I try to remember Rumi, a white flower grows in the quietness. Let your tongue become that flower. Congratulations, Dr. Fletcher. Dr. Venice Ng Williams, Doctor of Philosophy in Health Services Research. Dr. Williams' dissertation is titled, A Mixed Methods Approach to Characterizing Cross-Sector Collaboration and Its Effect in Nurse-Family Partnerships. Speaking for Dr. Williams, I am indebted to my committee members for their guidance, motivation, and timely feedback. Thank you, Greg Tung, Beth McManus, Ashley Brooks Russell, David Olds, and Ellie Yost. Special thanks are due to my friends and colleagues from the School of Public Health and the Prevention Research Center for Family and Child Health. All of you provided academic feedback, but more importantly, you provided social support throughout this process. I appreciate you. I am most grateful to my parents for their encouragement in pursuing higher education. My dissertation is dedicated to my amazing parents and my sister, without whom I would not have had the courage to move to Colorado. And of course, my rock and my husband, Rory Williams. Congratulations, Dr. Williams. Dr. Aaron Lester Shosey, Doctor of Philosophy in Biostatistics. Dr. Shosey's dissertation is titled, Practical Issues in the Design and Analysis of Stepped Wedge Cluster Randomized Trials. Speaking for Dr. Shosey, thank you to the Accords Research Group, including the directors and my biostatistician colleagues for their support during my time at CU Anschutz. Thank you to the DECIDE study team for their funding and scientific collaboration, including permission to use information from their trial as examples in my dissertation. Thank you to my committee, Professors Diane Fairclough, Gary Grunwald, Larry Allen, Miriam Dickinson, and Debashis Ghosh. I've learned so much from you during my research, and I cannot thank you enough for your mentorship. Finally, thank you to my family for all of your support during my journey as a PhD student. And a special thanks to my husband, Nate, for all of your encouragement over the years. Congratulations, Dr. Shosey. Dr. Tatiana Santos, Doctor of Philosophy in Health Services Research. Dr. Santos' dissertation is titled, Is Collaboration Between Nonprofit Hospitals and Local Health Departments Effective? An Analysis of Hospital Community Benefit Activities. Speaking for Dr. Santos. To my dad, mom, sister, and brother, thank you for your all-enduring support of my crazy pursuits. Thank you for your fierce love and courage and awesomeness. Dr. Richard Lindruth, you have been an amazing mentor to me, and I sure hope our paths continue to cross far into the future. I can only hope I absorbed some of your brilliance and humility. And last but not least, Dr. Jonathan Samet, you showed up in my academic pursuit over the past 2 years, and yet you have already had a major impact on my career. Thank you for your trust in my intellectual and leadership abilities. Thank you for your leadership to achieve a healthy, safe, and happy Colorado and beyond through a truly multidisciplinary approach. Congratulations, Dr. Santos. And congratulations to all of our doctors of public health and our doctors of philosophy. Please join me in a round of virtual applause for our Colorado School of Public Health graduates. I now introduce Dr. Lori Crane, Professor of Community and Behavioral Health and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs.
With great pleasure and pride, I congratulate each of you on your graduation. You are among the brightest public health students and professionals with whom I have worked and had the pleasure to teach. I wish you all the very best in your futures as you strive to accomplish noble ambitions, careers, and lives. Although you leave the school as students, you will remain a part of our community as alumni. The partnership we shared with you in the classroom will now extend into the communities you serve and the careers you choose to create. Ensuring that this partnership remains strong is among our very highest priorities. Regardless of which campus you attended or which program you pursued, you are all now alumni of the Colorado School of Public Health, and we hope that your future plans include ongoing commitment to and involvement with your school, and for those staying close, that you use the continuing education and workforce training available through our Center for Public Health Practice. Good luck and congratulations, graduates. Members of the faculty and guests, as Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, may I present to you the Colorado School of Public Health Class of 2020. And now I invite Dean Samet to close our ceremony today.
Thank you, Dr. Crane. Graduates, as you know, the formal conferral of your degrees will occur tomorrow at the virtual University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus commencement. Today, within the Colorado School of Public Health Convocation, we extend our congratulations to each member of the graduating class, and we look forward to hearing about what each one of you will accomplish as you make the world a healthier place for all. As alumni of the Colorado School of Public Health, please keep us informed of your professional development and triumphs. We want to share in the celebration of your successes. Participate in our alumni events when we are all able to gather together once again. We can have no greater accomplishment than what you, our graduates, achieve. And finally, on behalf of the faculty, staff, alumni, students, and friends of our school, my congratulations to all on your graduation. This concludes our virtual ceremony for the Colorado School of Public Health 2020 Convocation. Stay well and stay in touch. You are a very special class.